CNN caught up with Trump supporters during Trump's nationwide tour with Bill O'Reilly to get their thoughts on the January 6th riots. We're quickly approaching the 1-year anniversary of those riots. And unfortunately, some of the answers given during these on the street interviews were as crazy as you would expect them to be. Let's start with the first video.
January 6th attack was not the Republicans nor Trump. It was the Democrats were behind it all. They're the ones that caused it all.
Do you really believe that?
I know it. And there is no way that a Republican would act that way. And there is no way that Trump had anything to do with what happened on January 6th.
But what about all the Trump supporters that have been charged and indicted?
Because it's all Democratic judges and people that were on the take from the Democrats.
So ignore all of the Trump flags among the Capitol rioters, ignore what they were chanting, what they were marching over to the Capitol to do immediately after Trump's rally. It was the Democrats, allegedly. And by the way, I just want to give you some information about those pro-Democrat judges that the woman was alluding to here. When it comes to all of those challenges to the election, more than 60 of those court battles, it turned out that it wasn't just Democrat-appointed judges who decided to dismiss these allegations. It was also judges that were appointed by Donald Trump himself. Here's one headline, for instance: the most remarkable rebukes from Trump's legal case from the judges he handpicked. At least 9 Trump-appointed judges or Supreme Court shortlisters have declined to bolster his claims of election fraud. None have ruled in his favor. Cenk.
Yeah, I just want to make a quick comment about that woman. Look, I feel bad for her because it turns out, as we've learned recently, it's super easy to brainwash people. If you just have to say, hey, I'm one of you. Tucker Carlson puts on a flannel shirt, and then he goes, all those people are FBI agents plus left-wingers plus patriotic Republicans. And you just pick. And she happened to pick, oh, they're all left-wingers. But like, understand what she's saying. She's saying they then go to court, those theoretically left-wing people. They say in open court they're not left-wingers, they're Republicans. They support Donald Trump. In fact, they're mad that Donald Trump isn't paying their bills and all those things. So she thinks, I guess, that all of them are what? CIA agents, but they're willing to go to jail even though they look like real people and they've been traced back in their communities and people have fought for them. And now 56% of Republicans say that they were defending freedom. Nope, logic not required. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We know who they are. They're definitely Trump supporters.
And she's not. Look, sometimes when you see these man on the street interviews, oftentimes like you'll see reporters cherry pick like the most outrageous statements, but this is not an isolated person, an isolated case. This is actually pretty indicative of what the Trump base believes, or at least a significant portion of the Trump base. In fact, here's a UMass Amherst poll indicating that nearly a third, 31% of Republicans blame the Democratic Party for the violence at the Capitol. Antifa, the informal anti-fascist political activist group, was blamed by over 1/5, 22% of Republicans, while 16% blamed the US Capitol Police, who have reported that over 70 officers were injured in the siege.
So Black Lives Matter they opposed because they said Blue Lives Matter. Now they say it was the goddamn cops. They assaulted themselves. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm shocked at how easy it is to brainwash people. Tucker Carlson, the night before, telling them cops are the greatest thing since sliced bread, as long as they're killing and beating up black people. The next night he comes in and goes, yeah, the cops suck, and they probably did the patriot purge of January 6th. The FBI did, the authorities did, then they beat themselves up. And everybody goes, oh yeah, totally. We hate cops. What?
I mean,
what?
But like, are we really surprised? Isn't this? I mean, you see this happen with religion all the time, where they cherry pick certain things they like and reject and ignore parts of their religious doctrine that they don't like. So I'm not shocked with what's happening. And of course, this is all meant to propagandize people. And to your point about how you feel bad for the woman in that video, yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that these are necessarily inherently bad people, but they have been indoctrinated by the media bubble, the filter bubble that they exist in. And I don't know whether there's gonna be anything done to kind of stop that or mitigate it. Certainly we haven't seen anything work in regard to trying to mitigate it. And everyone's super atomized and everyone is super like hardcore in their own political ideology and political bubble. It's ripping the country apart. By the way, that poll that I just shared with you, the UMass Amherst poll, is not the only one that had that kind of result. In fact, 41% of Republicans blame left-leaning groups for the violence on January 6th, according to another CBS poll. And it goes on and on, but I wanna, there we go. So here's another, the CBS poll that I'm referring to. Among all voters, 41% believe that the behavior that day was typical of most Trump supporters, but only 9% of Republicans believe that. But I wanna get to this next video because we do have some more for you. Let's take a look.
I think the whole reporting of it is a giant hoax. We are very peaceful people. So it was a total setup. To me, it was the FBI had set it up. I don't believe that they were Trump supporters that did that.
You said the whole thing's a setup. You don't really believe that, do you?
I do. I do. Because Trump won the election. They've proven it over and over again.
I really don't think Trump had much to do with it, and people that were supporters for him, some were involved, but I think they were enticed by the FBI.
So that's another one of the many theories that Trump supporters have. You know, it's Antifa, it was the Democrats, oh, it was the FBI, which, you know.
Yeah, I'm now at a point that I definitely feel sorry for these folks, and they're not gonna like that either. They're not gonna like that any better than me calling them idiots or crazy, but it's super obvious that of course they don't know what they're talking about. Do you think they went and saw the like who the actual people are that are on trial and what they've said on social media, what they say to the judge? Do you think they read one of the 60 cases that Trump lost? That you saw them, they just said, oh, all the evidence shows that Trump won. Why? Because they're listening to right-wing media.
Exactly.
And right-wing media is just lying, just saying, oh yeah, Trump won. Well, there's a lot of evidence. Show us one piece of evidence. You had 60 court cases. You didn't show one piece of evidence. It doesn't matter. I just say it, and they believe me. And so, look, I've said this before. I give credit to the right-wing voters, okay? Yes, we're a left-wing show, but we're fair. They figured out step one. Mainstream media is lying to you, and they're brainwashing you in favor of corporate rule. But on step two, they went dangerously awry. They're like, oh, I don't like mainstream media brainwashing me, so I'll have right-wing media brainwash me, right? And get me to believe in totally cuckoo for Cocoa Puff stuff, right? And make me look even more ridiculous. By the way, if you're smug neoliberal and you think, yeah, see, status quo is awesome. I read the New York Times. Brother, I got bad news for you. You didn't even get to step one, okay? You still think, oh yeah, politicians are honest. I believe New York Times and CNN, that the millions of dollars of bribes they take doesn't affect them at all. Now, you didn't even get to step one, okay? For progressives, we easily got to step one. We see the brainwashing clear, and we're holding our sanity. But I'll tell you what are progressives doing in terms of action? Well, we're trying to push the Democratic Party to not the left, but just sanity, right? And to stop working for corporations and being against corruption. How's that working out for us? Not that well. So let me tell you something, Democrats continue to do nothing, which is almost certain. And soon the left wing is gonna erupt. And so I don't want it to, but it's going to. And there's no way anyone can stop it.
What do you mean by that?
I think they're gonna go in the streets, and I think then there's gonna be more clashes with the right wing in the streets and the left wing in the streets, because the young that are on the left are not gonna sit around and listen to goddamn Jake Tapper. They're not gonna sit there and go, oh, Anderson Cooper, the Vanderbilt heir, says that the status quo is terrific, and we should just listen to corporations, and we shouldn't have health care, and I should pay couple of $1,000s on a surprise bill I got, and I should accept lower wages, and I should let corporations crush me into the ground. Well, if Anderson Cooper says it and the New York Times says it, no, the left wing at some point is gonna go, screw this. Where do we go and what do we do in the streets? And then, by the way, the right wing's gonna come out, and then we're gonna have a holy mess on our hands. And that's brought to you by Joe Biden and his corruption.
Well, I mean, the right wing is already out there.
Yes.
And we've already seen the consequences of those types of clashes. And the right wing has been, I think, pretty openly and transparently itching for a civil war. But
by the way, when that happens, I'll go further because it's almost inevitable at this point. Because there's no way Biden and Pelosi and Schumer are going to turn around. They're going to do nothing. Okay, they're not going to help you. That's not who they are. So, and look at this. By the way, it started as anti-Trump, but we're honest. The other guys are fools who are lying to you to maintain corporate rule. And by the way, if the left wing and right wing go out there and clash, which I don't want to happen, but if it happens, Biden will side with the right wing. You think, no way, come on, Jake.
I can persuade them, Jack.
Yeah, you think that's a bridge too far. He wouldn't do that. Yes, he will. They'll crush left-wing protesters first. Everyone in Washington will agree they're the real danger, okay? Including Biden, mark my words.
So I have one more video that I want to get to, because what's really fascinating about Trump's base is that there's division among them in regard to what they believe really transpired on January 6th. You have those who believe it's Democrats or Antifa or the FBI, and then you have those who acknowledge and accept the fact that it was Trump supporters. And they actually think what they did was awesome. So on the day of the riots, the CNN reporters actually spoke to some of the Trump supporters about what just had happened that day, and get a load of what some of them had to say about it.
At the time, some Trump supporters told me they were happy with what happened here at the Capitol. Are you proud of what happened here today?
Absolutely. I think we should have gone on in and yanked our senators out by the hair of the head and drug them out and said, no more.
I'm absolutely stand behind 100% what happened here today. 1,000%. I think it's terrible how this election was stolen.
Federal prosecutors have charged more than 700 people in connection with the Capitol riot and repeatedly documented the rioters' support for President Trump.
And that kind of thinking has not just gone away. Again, let's go back to that CBS News poll, which shows that a pretty significant portion of Republican voters, 47% of them, feel that what was done that day by Trump supporters was patriotic. It was patriotism.
Yeah. So guys, here's another problem. Those right-wingers, the 700 that were arrested, none of them have power. So yeah, they're gonna get relatively crushed, and they should. They were chanting about executions, and they broke the doors down, etc. No question. But why isn't Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro charged?
Yep, exactly.
Last week they admitted it, and they had named it. It was called the Green Bay Sweep. Bannon's on tape that day explaining what the maneuver is, and they egged people on. And now they say, no, we weren't trying to cause violence. We're just trying to steal the election without violence. Well, no, you just admitted you were trying to steal the election. Why aren't they charged? Because they're powerful and they're elites. So if you're a right winger, understand these folks don't have your best interest in mind. They egg you on for their own benefit, then you suffer the consequences, and they sit comfortable in their mansions. Remember what Trump pardoned Steve Bannon on? Ripping off right wingers, not left wingers. Ripping off right wingers, oh, we're gonna do a wall. And then he laughed at you behind your back, took the money and robbed you.
Put it in his own pocket.
Put it in his own pocket. I think there was a scene, they were on a yacht and making fun of the guys who gave him the money.
Oh my God.
Okay, and Trump pardoned him. Oh, he's like, oh, that's a criminal, white collar criminal just like me.
But why wouldn't he? Exactly. I mean, it's the same thing that Trump has done. I mean, he had this huge fundraising effort meant to collect money from his base in order to fight all these legal battles in regard to election fraud. Pocketed the money. Didn't 100%. Spend any of it on the court battles.
And one last thing, it's really easy to tell who's a fake populist, whether they're pretending to be on the right or pretending to be on the left. They'll never criticize the other side. So now we have fake left wingers who are like, oh, the Democrats are terrible. Good, I agree. And they're like, how about the Republicans? No, they're okay. Wait, you're a left winger and you never criticize Donald Trump, Steve Bannon, and the Republicans that have led this insanity? You leave the right wing powerful alone and you're pretending to be a populist and a left winger? Now beware of grifters, they're everywhere. And like I said, easy guide. They only criticize one side. If you ask them to criticize the other side, well, that's where their bread is buttered, so they won't do it. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.